I'm Dave Robson. I'm part of the dynamic duo of Dave and Sue. I'm part of LifeSource coaches. We are life and leadership coaches. We're passionate about helping people love and live and lead with hearts fully alive. Some of the tools that we use in the process is helping people escape the gravity of life circumstances at times that keeps them stuck or hindered. Let me ask you this question. When was the last time you got triggered, where your buttons got pushed and you reacted with this emotional reaction that was way beyond helpful and probably even at times bordered on unhealthy? Of course, being the mature coach that I am, that occurs very rarely. Well, okay, yesterday on the highway on the way to Pasadena, I'm driving along trying to get out of town, a little bit late, and the traffic lights just seem to all be red. I'm grumping and groaning and gesturing at people, just so appropriate for a guy who has been in ministry for as many years as I have been. But every one of us, growing up and journeying through life, experienced hurts, hang-ups, things that hinder us, habits, even strongholds that keep us captive, that hold us back from fulfilling our greatest potential and living up to that. So one of the things that we've found many times is that there's usually some emotional experiences and traumas in our life that tend to be stored not just consciously but subconsciously out of emotional events growing up or going through life that tend to activate this aspect of getting our buttons pushed or triggered. The good news is that there's some help for those things. There's some healing and growth that we can do. And a lot of times we think, oh, I just need to recognize that belief or that emotion that's going on inside of me, and that conscious awareness is going to change me from getting triggered all the time. I would like to say that would be true, but I haven't found by my experience, obviously by trying to get out of town yesterday and going to Pasadena, that worked very well. These hurts and hang-ups that turn into triggers and buttons for us are not just consciously activated, they're deep within our subconscious. Most of the deep emotional events in our life occur and are stored not just within our conscious brain but our subconscious. And our subconscious brain was created to protect us. And so there's this filing system that when we find ourselves in an emotional or stressful situation, our conscious brain gets hijacked by our amygdala, which is that gate in the brain that goes to fight or flight, and we react rather than cognitively respond. To change those buttons or deactivate them and change those triggers, we got to work on a subconscious level, not on a conscious level. And so this protocol of healing that reworks those triggers is called Splankna. Now, Splankna is a Greek term meaning gut, or the center of our lives and our being, the very place of our heart and our soul and our body, really, that we would call our hearts. It really is about centered in compassion. One of the things that we saw when Jesus walked on the earth and in the newer testaments, where it talks about how he looked upon people and he looked upon the crowds and he saw them with these hurts and hang-ups and habits in their lives that were hindering their joy and their ability to live from hearts fully alive. It says that deep within his gut, within his heart, convulsed with compassion to see these people released from those emotional hang-ups and hurts, healed from those, and become healthy to live out of the fullness of their being. So this Splankna protocol that we've discovered and have practiced comes back in and it works in the very depths of our lives. It uncovers the lies that we believe that end up triggering us. I know for me, just looking at my situation of being impatient when it comes to how life is supposed to work, whether that's traffic lights or whether that's people not cutting me off on the freeway, is I grew up expecting, man, life should be easy. It should be happening the first time. I shouldn't have to struggle and wrestle. And when it doesn't, I get very, very, very frustrated. And I realized growing up that in my home, life was modeled that it should work well. And if it didn't work well, a lot of times I would get criticized that I wasn't paying attention, or I wasn't working hard enough, or wasn't focused enough. And really, that was a lie. Life has all sorts of crud that gets in the way, and it's about learning, and we're beings, and Jesus had disciples, and that disciples, those were learners. And so I realized that there's some things I need to learn or relearn that are held deep within my subconscious about how life should work, and those lies don't serve me well. That's what creates those triggers or those buttons. And so this technique goes in and it looks and saying, how do we reprogram, taking that lie, replacing it with truth, and then de-energizing those emotional files in our subconscious so they don't start popping up in the midst of no place or unexpectedly in unhealthy and unhelpful ways.